Right, apparently today is User Cash Point Day. I think it's got a proper name, but there's a day for everything these days. But this is a good one because it's basically saying screw the banks, everyone needs to use more cash, stop cash from disappearing so the banks don't control everything. And so it's an ideal time to tell this anecdote that I've had stored up for about 9 months. So 9 months ago, I went to buy a car from auction, like I do every week. But instead of using my normal account, I used my Chase Bank account. And when I tried to send the money, they blocked it. And instantly came back to me with contact us now. So I contacted them and spent the next 20 minutes explaining myself, because when I said I was buying a car, they then some bloke in a call centre somewhere in America asked me if I thought the car was any good and why was I buying it, and I'd checked it out by a reputable dealer, and I explained what I did, and that still wasn't enough for him. So we had to go through every single detail, and eventually we got there. And the end result was 20 minutes of my life later, I was able to spend my own money. Now, fair enough, the banks are being diligent, but I was sending it to the biggest auction company in Europe. I wasn't sending it to some backstreet man, which leads me on to the next thing. When I sold a car, as it happens, to a mate. He went to Lloyd's Bank to ask them to transfer the money to me for the car. And when he gave them my account details, which is an Anna Bank, another one of these online ones, they simply refused to send the money. And despite his protests and him saying, no, you're fine, it's all fine, it's me mate, and it's all reputable, and it's all fine, don't worry about a thing. Nope. They weren't having it, and they refused to let him spend his own money because they said that my account wasn't on their reputable account list and they would not honour the payment. So you have a situation now where the bank can stop you spending your own money on what you want to spend it on. Scary stuff. And the thing is, the only reason that I have these online bank accounts, Chase was done online, Anna's all done online, is because the high street banks are such a pain in the ass to deal with. You can't just open a bank account these days with them, or a business account. They need the ins and outs of a duck's arsehole, and they want every detail known to man. They want 15 forms of ID, they want this, they want that, they want accounts, they want HMRC references, the list goes on and on and on, to the point where you go, oh bollocks to that. However, if you want to open up an account online, give them your driving licence, give them your photo of your passport, they check out your ID checks out, they do your address check, you're up and running within about 30 minutes, card arrives next day, brilliant, can't fault it. Apart from Chase when they decided to interrogate me over where I was spending my own money. And it got me thinking. So I rang up my mate who runs the local auction and I said, anybody else had this problem? And he said, yes, everyone's had this problem. All small car dealers are having this problem. They can't get their money sent to them, or they can't send it to other people. And it's always the high street banks that are stopping it. And I thought, well, it's quite simple, isn't it? It's like everything else in life. They need to get rid of the small man. You can't have control if you've got people out there earning their own money and doing their own thing. So that's what they do. They bring in cinch and kazoo. They flood the market with really easy to do stuff. I mean, let's face it, cinch and kazoo is really easy, and it instantly wiped out a load of second-hand car dealers. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing remains to be seen. But at the bottom end, where I live, you get strangled because A, you can't fulfill their requirements, B, you can't get your money, and C, they can control you. But they bring out new bank accounts and you use them. So then they stop you from using your bank account with their bank account. They refuse to cooperate. And this is right across Lloyds, Barclays, TSB, all of them. They all do it. And they all do it quite deliberately to stop the small man. I mean, it's not as if we're all dealing in multiples of £50 notes anymore. Those days are gone forever. Because if you get paid in cash for a car, what are you going to do with the cash? You can't spend it all. Well, you can on other cars. But then the auctions now only take bank transfers. They don't take cash anymore. So you can't even go back to the auction and recycle the cash. You've got to pay it into a bank. So cash doesn't work for the car business. So then they know that. So then they strangle you in the bank business as well. It's a genius tactic. So there you have it. We now live in a world where if somebody wants to buy a car off a small trader, the bank will stop them sending the money. And if that small trader wants to buy a car off an auction, the bank will stop them sending the money. So either way, we're being screwed. And it's not a coincidence. It's a very deliberate tactic, and one that appears to be working quite well too. So on this use your cash point day, yeah, use your cash point, but how it works for large transactions, I really have no idea anymore, because I've still got to put it in the bank anyway. So it's completely traceable. So there's no, it's not as if we're all stashing £50 notes under our mattresses, not like a good old days. So yeah, it just defeats the object. So we've got to keep cash, even if you just use it to buy a pint. I did that the other day. It's quite liberating actually. I paid for a whole night out. I had 60 quid in my pocket, and yeah, quite interesting that was, using cash. What a novelty. I mean, I normally pay with my watch. I'm one of the worst. I'm here preaching about how we got to use cash, and I just use my bloody watch. So I'm no better than anybody else. I'm a right hypocrite. So there you have it. The banks are trying to screw the small dealers, and it's not just the car industry, it's pretty much every industry. And we need to keep cash in circulation, but then not for large amounts, because then you can't get rid of it. I'll give you an example. You go to Cheltenham, you go racing at Cheltenham, you win a load of money off the bookies on the rails, they pay you in cash. You can't spend that in Cheltenham. On the race course, it's all cashless. So you win all that money, you can't buy a round of drinks for everyone. I mean, and you need a lot of money to buy a round of drinks for everyone in Cheltenham. And then when you get into the town, and we had this time last year, we won a load, we went into town, went into Flight Club, all right love, give us the works. Sorry, we don't accept cash. So we had to pay by card because we weren't about to leave there. But it's another example of the lazy way out, as they try and phase cash out to bring in the digital currency, which is what the end game is. But it's a drip fed thing at the moment. It's just being done slowly. And at the same time, phase out the small businessman. Can't have people being independent. They've got to